ain't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd Without Fear. Welcome back to the channel. I'm joined by a special guest today, and that is Kayla Davis, who is the creator of a little animated thing that's happening right now that's kind of growing into something very special, and I wanted to talk to her about it. So that's why we're here. So Kayla, how are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
Like I said, I'm surviving. I'm surviving. I have no complaints. I will not. I refuse to complain. My problems are minor in comparison to probably a lot of other people's. So
Most definitely, you got to put all that in perspective. They're like, "Dang, I stubbed my toe today, but
Yeah.
people are dying." Oh crap!
Oh yeah, no, like I tell people all the time, I would be a fool to, not to say that I can't have complaints, but I would be a fool to complain about the things that I would probably complain about. It's like, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, we can complain off camera. We can complain off camera.
Yeah, like, oh no, make no mistake. When the cameras are off and I'm like, there's no mics, no hot mics or anything, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say, but in this moment, nothing to say.
That's all good. All good.
So I wanted to ask, you are a creative who is putting some really cool stuff out there. You've been kind of building this thing up, and I wanted to ask, like, so what got you into animation? Like, what's the origin story?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question.
Okay, all right. Hey, let's go. We're starting off with the tough ones. I like it.
Right, with the tough questions, but I think it's a hard question and an easy question, all in the same vein. Like I grew up watching animation. Like I don't think, and everyone laughs at me, I don't think I've actually started watching, and I call them real life movies. I haven't actually watched a real life movie. I started in the past 4 years. So any movie I had ever seen growing up has always been animated. Grew up as a, Fox kid. I watched cartoons, Tiny Toon Adventures, Ninja Turtles, Defenders of the Earth. I'm taking it way back.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, so basically you grew up in that same, like, the after school kids programming block where it was just like wall-to-wall cartoons, like it was
Most
everything
definitely.
after school, like it was
Most definitely. And even before school, I remember Ronin Warriors coming on at 6:30 in the morning. I was like, let's get up and watch that because I got to watch that before I go to school. Then it was Sailor Moon. And then by the time Sailor Moon was over, I'm at school. I'd finish it up at school, which I wasn't supposed to do. But yeah, definitely after school kid. And I grew up and, in high school, I had an art teacher and she said, animation is where the money is. I think that's what you really want to do. And, I thought about it and it was something that I really did want to do. So, got into college, went to the Atlanta College of Art, which is now SCAD in Atlanta, which everyone hates that we're gone. But yeah, went to ACA and, my dad wanted me to major in 3D animation. And I said, that's not what I want to do. I want to do pen and paper. I know it's harder, but the payoff for me makes more sense. So I did a concentration in traditional animation, 2D animation. And I went through my 4 years of that. I went back every year. I felt like quitting. I went back to my art teacher and she was like, that's where the money is. That's where the money is. That's the echo that you have in the background. That's where the money is. And then that is when the traditional animation bubble burst and Disney decided we were going to start laying off all of our traditional animators and we're going to do all of this, and people followed suit. So even though that's where the money is, that's where the money is, that's not where the money was when I got out of school. So it was definitely oh my God, I got to hurry up and find a job, any kind of job. I did have that concentration in 2D animation. I always knew that it was going to be a side hustle for me, while I made money to pay for the expensive college I went to.
For those that are not familiar, like if you don't have any skin in the game or you've never really read up on this sort of thing, I feel like this is kind of that it was that weird point in time
Yeah.
where you started like traditional animations kind of like it's weird. It's kind of making a comeback and it's kind of not at the same time where like
Right.
you see more people trying to emulate it and
Yep.
you probably see it maybe a little I want to say maybe a little bit more in video games and you
Hmm.
probably see it kind of close to a bit more like just in general internet
Yeah.
creativity spaces. Like there's a lot of people that are out there trying to like show that it can still be done, it can still be done well, and that it still looks the best. And it's like, and
Right.
all those things are true.
Right.
But like, yeah, there was that point where once Disney kind of said, yeah, we're out the game, everyone else followed kind of in like almost like there were some people that were like kind of trying to like not go that direction, but pretty much once
Right.
Disney did it, that was kind of like that was almost the nail in the coffin, honestly. And it was sad
Right.
because
Yeah.
like
Once.
that's my favorite animation is like
Yeah.
traditional 2D
Yeah,
animation.
once the mouse decided to do it, the mouse ruled all at that time. Once
Mhm,
Disney decided to do it, everybody was like, oh, we need to follow suit because
mhm,
Disney is one of those money makers. They were putting out a lot of the 2D animation. And so inspiration for me is like Don Bluth. He was a Disney
mhm.
animator and he said, you know what, I'm tired of working for the mouse. I can make my own studio. And he came out with amazing
Oh yeah.
Secret of Nim, American Tail. If you guys have not seen anything like that, just check out Don Bluth. He is an inspiration for anybody. He runs his own academy, and he, even though Disney's bubble did burst, he continued to say, I'm going to put out quality animation. And to this day, his stuff, while Disney, some of it does not hit the same way as it
Mhm.
would back when we were a kid. Like you could still put on, Secret of Nim and be like,
Oh, it's
man,
still good.
this
It's
animation is
still good.
amazing. Right. There, it
Yeah.
was adult at its time and it's adult now for us. And it's still
Mhm.
just beautiful to watch. The colors he used, the animation style he used. And Dragon's Lair,
Yeah.
that was, an animation that got turned into a video game and they used the
Mhm.
animation from the animation to do the video game.
And I
So
would actually say the animation is what made Dragon's Lair as popular as what it was.
right, right. Because
Uh,
when you died, you're gonna get the princess up there
mhm,
saying, "Oh no,"
mhm. You get the
So it
crazy
was
death
just,
animated.
yeah, yeah. And to your point, we have indie people out there who are still trying to make a comeback. We
Mhm,
have Lackadaisy, we have
mhm.
Hell of a Boss, Has Been Hotel. So it
Yep.
is coming back. It's coming back slowly. But even though I say these indie creators, we don't have a lot of Black indie creators out there. And that's what makes me sad,
Yeah.
And the thing is, we have a lot of stories to tell as it's people, and it's not just Black, as people of color, we have a lot
Yeah.
of stories to tell. And I want to see more of us out there telling our story,
Mhm.
in animation, because we have a
Yes.
lot to show, and so
Oh yeah.
sorry, I went off on a tangent
No,
there.
no, no. No. Please, by all means, please. I mean, you were cooking, so I was like, I was like, keep going, keep going. No, but I agree with everything you're saying here because this is the same thing I've been trying to tell people for a long time. It's not like it wasn't happenstance that Black stories kind of took over the public zeitgeist for a good bit. Like, when we had like when people discovered, oh wait, Black people could do horror movies, like when we did like when Jordan Peele put out Get Out. It was like people like, oh, I've never seen anything like this. Like, I mean, it's not to say that Black people weren't making horror movies before Jordan Peele, but Jordan Peele proved that they can go mainstream to where like everybody's talking. Like it's not just like when we would have Black horror movies, it would be one of those things where only really Black people watch them or talked about them. But like Get Out
Right,
had that crossover appeal. And then
right,
we had not too I think probably in and about around the same time you have Black Panther come out and it's like people like, oh man, everybody loves Black Panther. And it's like, okay, so now you see Black stories, they're
right,
profitable, they're marketable.
right.
And not only that, it's something that we as Black people, we know these stories. We've lived these stories. We know these stories exist, but the thing is, they're new to everyone outside of outside of our culture. And the thing is, we have had, and it's just a matter of fact. Entertainment has been very default white for a long time, and it's time that more and I'm not just saying come up with diverse stories, but give diverse people chances to tell their stories, because the more diverse people you have telling those stories, that just makes, like people always complain about, oh, no one's doing anything new. Well, no, they are. You just don't see it because these people aren't given that chance.
Right.
So I agree. I agree 1,000,000%. I want to see more people like
Right.
yourself trying to put something out there that can resonate with more people than just the default white general audience that Hollywood only seems to be focused on.
Most
Like,
definitely. And it's not even about, it is about us getting out there. So
Mhm,
I definitely say if you have a story, get out there and tell it. But also, I need y'all support.
mhm,
A lot of Black creators are not getting the support that, we see our counterparts getting.
mhm,
And so, we need y'all to get out and talk about it, because if you
mhm,
don't, we're going to get buried, and then that's the sad part of it, while, people are saying, oh, did you hear about this or XYZ, or did you hear about Skelly? Yeah, I heard
mhm,
about it, but are you supporting it? Because, even a dollar, 50
mhm,
cents, something,
mhm,
you want to give money to Starbucks, that
mhm.
is very white coded. And, I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything against that, but you
No.
want to pay $10 for a grande latte. Why don't you take some of that money and
Mhm,
put it into invest the $10 into 10 indie person of color created things?
mhm,
You don't have to, no one's asking, and I feel, and I might go on my little soapbox here, I feel that a lot of people of color feel like if I can't donate for a substantial amount, I'm not going to donate at all. Well, I'm
mhm.
here to tell you $1 is a substantial amount to all of us creators.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to understand that if $1 is all you can give, man, give that $1. I have my dad, big ups to my dad, who has always supported me. He's like, hey, I don't have $1,000,000. He said, but I will give you $5 every month. And
Mhm.
faithfully, he has given $5 to Skelly every month, and
Yeah.
with the fees that come out, am I seeing the whole $5? No, but I have someone out there who's supporting me. And
Right.
so while Jordan Peele put this out and he could touch everybody,
Mhm,
it was the Black people or the people of color who were talking about it. And they were like, hey, did you see this thing by Jordan Peele? It's about people who look
mhm,
like me and is out
mhm,
there. I need everybody to do that. And while I say support all indie,
mhm,
because they all deserve our support, they really do. We don't always have the money to do it, but I always
right.
say do what you can. It doesn't
Mhm,
always have to be monetary. You can
mhm,
share it. You can tell somebody about the story. Hey, this girl named Kayla is working on this show called Skelly. It's
mhm,
about mental health and growing up as a child of color and how
mhm,
we buried that. You
mhm.
just having a word of mouth or just sharing, just get our names out there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, we we don't have to be Emmy award winning right now. While that is great to be, we don't have to be that right now, but we need support.
To just kind of hammer it home too, even further, is like, as a guy who grew up as a creative, you kind of find you find yourself in these circles where, like, you're hanging out with other indie creators, talking to other indie creators, and especially indie creators of color. You there are these common threads you usually see where it's like, oh, hey, I'm doing this thing, and then, like, the people that you're hoping would be supportive of it are like, suddenly it's kind of like, oh, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or this, that, and the third. And it's like, and kind of to what you said, it doesn't always have to be about money. And I always tell people, like, because it's something I deal with on my own channel, is I always tell people, like, I don't ask everyone to support me monetarily on my channel. The people that do, I'm highly appreciative that they do. But I always say, like, man, yeah, if you can't super chat or support me on Patreon, or get a channel membership or whatever, I always say just click like on the video and click share. Like that to me, like, honestly, that to me is worth a lot, because you never know, you might know somebody who is interested, and maybe they might want to do the same. They might be like, oh, hey, I might or might not be able to support this monetarily, but hey, I think this is cool, so I'm gonna like it and I'm gonna share it or whatever. And you never know, like it's like the pitfall of being any type of artist. I
Yeah.
feel a lot of my other artist friends, like, one of the things I always see them talking about is, people go out and spend money on this, that, and the third, but in the same breath will say, man, I don't know why people don't make stuff like what you're making. It's like, well, it's because no one supports it. It's like you gotta get behind it, and like I said, there's tons of different ways to do it. And I think people just always default to, well, how much money am I going to have to spend? And that is, I think, where people hit the brick wall that they don't necessarily need to hit. It's like, there is no brick wall. Just talking about it, is worth almost as much.
Yes, most definitely. And I will say that this will be our second round of crowdfunding campaign. The first one, we didn't make it. A lot of people were not talking about Skelly. I thought I had reached out to the right people, and it's like you said, a lot of people said, oh, I'll support, and then it was time to drop the money, and they were like, no, and you can market with us if you pay $2,500, or you can do that or this. And I'm like, no, I'm not asking for $2,500. One, if you want to give me $2,500, that'd be awesome. But I'm never going to hound anybody, for money. Yeah. This is my passion project. And I would hope that this is a story that a lot of people can relate to. And I would hope that a lot of people would want to be involved in it. And a lot of things that I talk about on our Skelly Discord, and even when I have, my two Twitter talks that I talk a lot about gatekeeping. And I think that is a big problem with a lot of creatives right now. They're doing a lot of gatekeeping. And I'm one of those people that if I come up, I'm bringing everyone with me. And I've told all my friends, I have friends from college that I'm still friends with 20 years later. And I've always said, hey, be a producer on this. If you don't have time, I understand, but I'm going to put you as a producer on this, and I'm going to come up. And when I come up, everyone comes up with me. Yeah. And I've made sure that everyone, my voice actors, everybody, storyboard artists that work with me, I'm not doing this alone. So I'm not going to come up alone, and your names will be on the credits every time. And so that's the thing. Don't gatekeep. And I share all my information, all my pitfalls that I've gone through with Skelly, all my successes. I very openly will tell people about that. People have come to me and they said, so running a campaign, what do I need to do? And I said, okay, so this is the pitfall I fell into. So don't do this. But yes. I've seen this work, and I've seen this work. And I've reached out to people of color who have had successful campaigns. They don't get back to me at all. And I'm like, that's telling, that I supported you and I've retweeted you and I've reposted everything, and you can't just email me back and answer some questions that I have. So that's very telling. So, and I am one of those people, I say that I'm like the golden retriever of people. Like, I don't care how bad you treat me. I'm still going to come back and still be your friend and still have the bleeding heart for you. But if I have knowledge that you need or you want, or if I can find out a way to get it for you, I'm going to help you any way I can, because my dad has always told me, you never know who's going to be your boss in the next life, or who's going to be your boss as you come up. Know? So be nice and help everybody the way they can. But I
Mhm.
will say gatekeeping, and it's a lot of people who are in the industry. And I will say, I do understand, because that's the mentality that like a Warner Brothers had against a Cartoon Network. We're not allowed to share our ideas, and we're not going to share
Mhm.
why we're successful. But now that we're in this indie space, we need to get rid of that. Like, we need to help each
Yes.
other and be a community. Because if we're not a community and we're not, like, we can all exist in one space. I'm
Right.
not gunning for your spot, It's like I
There's
told
space on the
everybody.
ship for all of us. Like it's
Right. Right. I'm like, hell of a boss. Yeah, we might have two shows that might contain hell or might not. Nobody knows what Skelly's about. I haven't talked about it yet.
Mhm.
But we might have two things that talk about hell. I'm not gunning for your spot. We can both
No.
exist, And I think that's the hard thing for people to understand. There was a lot of toxic energy going around with some of the indies for a while. I'm not gonna name
Yeah.
names, but I think a lot of people know there we're not fighting against each other, and
Mhm.
even if, we had some kind of beef, that's not professional. We need to just
No.
keep it professional. And hey, can I help you in any way? Can I,
Mhm.
give you some pointers? Can I tell you what I did?
Mhm.
And that's what I wish that a lot of people would do. And so I'm going to say this. I'm looking at the camera. Anybody, if you ever need help with a campaign or need help with anything, the Skelly Discord, we have a mental health space on there. If you ever need someone to talk to, I am here for anybody. Hit
Mhm.
me up on Twitter, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram. Unless I can't find your message,
Mhm.
I'm most definitely always going to answer your message and be like, hey, what do you need? Do you need to talk?
Mhm.
I can tell you I ran into this pitfall here. Like, this didn't work. So I'm trying
Mhm.
this. Maybe you could try this or see how it works for you. Let me know. And we can compare notes. Like, we need to be more of a community instead of just fighting against each other, indie show
Right.
for indie show.
Yeah, this isn't a gladiatorial arena. There's room for all of us to coexist. Who's to say that a rising tide doesn't lift all ships? Like we if all of us are doing well, that just means there's more opportunity for someone else to do equally as well. And I guess yeah, I want to ask you about this cuz I want people to know what it is that you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about Skelly? Like where does it come like what is the story and like where does it come from?
Skeletons in the closet. They say I don't exist. They just don't see me like you do. Think we can be best friends. Everyone else, they all came and went. But you and me know this ain't pretend. They won't believe, so just take my hand. And I'll show you to your end.
Yeah, the story. Skelly is about a bored graphic designer. She's bored and she's always tired. She lives a life of monotony. The only thing that's different from her life, is that she has a skeleton in her closet. And most people will tell you we all have skeletons in our closet, but no, she has an actual skeleton named Skelly B. Bones living in her closet, and he runs a bar. And people in the bar are people who have passed away. Like, we have Frederick Douglass, we have Julius Caesar, we have
Mhm.
Bonnie and Clyde, we have Amy Winehouse in there. So we have Joan of Arc. We have a very horny Anne Boleyn. Skelly is about Sarah,
Mhm.
and the woman's name is Sarah, and she thinks that she is trying in her own way to help Skelly figure out who he is.
Mhm.
But there's a twist in it where Skelly is trying to help Sarah figure out who she really is.
Mhm.
So that's the twist. I've always been told I give too much away. So I'm going to stop right there as far as the story. If I had all day, I'd tell you exactly what happens. But so it is actually based on my life. So a
Mhm.
lot of it is stuff that has happened to me. And it is a love letter to anyone out there. It could be children of color, but mostly people who grew up feeling just that they weren't in their right, I guess, their right atmosphere, or they wanted to rise above. And, they just kind of were always told that they're kind of weird, or, having this mental illness or anxiety, you're just being weird. I know my family told me a lot that you don't go to the doctor and tell them that something's wrong, because then they'll think you're crazy, and I think that's a lot of stuff that happens in a household, mostly in Black households or children of color. We're told that, you don't go to the doctor and you don't tell them your problems because you don't want anybody to think you're crazy. And we kind of just sweep mental illness under the rug, just like with LGBTQ. We kind of just sweep that under the rug. And so this is a story that's a love letter to anybody who has ever felt like their feelings were not validated. This is a story that is going to make you understand and make you know that feeling okay is okay, and trying to find your own path is okay.
So that's actually what drew me in to the story you were telling, is like, just when I kind of just had heard the premise when you were telling me about it, initially when we were first setting this up, like, it just in my head, I just had kind of already, I had already kind of like looked ahead, like, into like, ooh, I wonder what this could be. And like the vibe I was getting, I was like, man, this is like a prime, this is prime soil for telling a story about growing up in a culture that when you are, I guess, like the outlier, you're the bug, not the feature. Like how you feel, how do you exist? And it spoke to me because that's how I grew up. Is, I mean, it's not to say that, was I so different from every other Black person I knew? I mean, not like, in any like, zany ways. Like I wasn't like, walking out of the house, dressed up in Jinkos and heavy metal band t-shirts right away. But I mean, it did happen later down the stretch. But like,
I
just
think we all went through that phase. I
Right.
still wear my Jinkos.
Yeah. It's like, I have a couple of pairs in the closet. They don't fit anymore, but they're memories. They're memories. But no, I grew up as that kid that, I didn't talk like the rest of my family, except for my mother. Like I didn't really think the same way. Like I did, but I mean, not like exactly the same way. Like I was not the stereotypical, Black kid growing up in a Black family in a Black neighborhood. Like it just, I mean, it's not to say that I didn't have those same experiences as everybody else, but my experiences were just a little different. And when I saw this, I was like, this kind of speaks to me in a way that is very validating. Like it makes, like it's a friendly reminder that, you aren't just the only one. Like, there are multiple different types of Black experiences out there.
Right.
And yours is no less important because it's not the most common one. That's what I took away from,
Yeah, and it's most definitely about finding your community, because, sometimes you just have to find your people, and your people don't have to be family. Friends can become family. And sometimes, most of the times, they are the only people that you can talk to, and they are like family. I have my best friend. She lives in Michigan. I was a military brat. We've been friends for 23 years. We talk here and there, sometimes a month without talking. But as soon as I talk to her, she's ready to sit down and listen to all my problems. I still write her letters, like snail mail letters. We still do that. We still talk about Sailor Moon, but she's my person, and I have tons of people out there. It was just, you have to find your community. And I don't want anyone to ever feel that just because your family is not your community, your family doesn't have to be your community. Like,
No.
I don't want anybody to ever feel bad about that. Like I used to grow up and I used to be like, why am I not like my family? Like, what have I done so wrong that I'm alienating myself? And I just realized they're not my community, and they're not going to understand me. They called me, oh, Kayla, you're the one who likes anime, right? Yeah, you're related to this person and this person. I have a big family. You're related to this person and this person, but we know you as the anime girl who has glasses. So you're kind of weird, but you like anime. I know that about you. You like anime. Oh, and they'd always say, oh, you draw the anime, and it was like, yeah, I like anime, yeah, but there's a lot more stuff about me. But, it's just, finding where you belong. And
Mhm.
I think, as we get older, we don't put so much emphasis, when you're a kid and in high school, we put a lot of emphasis on cliques
Yeah.
and the cliques we find in high school. And like, people need to realize like that ain't it.
Nah.
Once you get older, those cliques in high school, they're not going to matter anymore.
Nah.
You need to find those lifelong bonds, and you'll know when you have it because they'll accept you warts and all.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to say, hey, I like this Kayla girl, but I wish she wouldn't talk so much. Well, then you don't really like me because when I get nervous,
Yeah.
I talk a lot.
Mhm.
You like things about me.
That's an
You know,
associate. That's
yes,
an acquaintance. That's not a friend. Like that's not
right.
that's it. It's to me. It's very like I said. It was just very reaffirming to me because I grew up the funny book boy. Already he loves those funny books.
Yep.
So yeah, and then when anime came along, it's like he's watching those funny Japanese cartoons.
You're watching that Japan anime.
Yeah, that was no, exactly, yeah. It was always that Japan which was just a funny thing to me, just in its or when the first part of that statement was emphasized, and I'm just like, that sounds kind of racist, but
Right.
like I have to question my family now. But no, it's like it felt very reminiscent of me to that moment in life where I had yet to had found, I had yet to had found my crew, my clan, my people,
Mm.
the people who would ultimately probably surround me for the rest of my life and accept me for who I am, regardless of how different or weird I might be to everyone else.
Right.
And that's something, and that's the thing. I feel like it's not even so much of an alien story because I feel like a lot of people actually go through it. I think kind of like similar how we were talking about before about how there's certain things that happen when you grow up as a black person in the United States. There's certain like mentalities, attitudes, expressions you could have or make that a while back, we didn't have the names and terminology and studies to support what these things actually were.
Mm.
And historically speaking, black people have largely been very anti medicine for a long time. And like it's only up until recently we've started seeing like younger generations come along and kind of break that you kind of break that down. But like I always found it kind of funny that when I think back to like as a kid, some of my cousins, like the way they would act, and I was like, their parents are like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with with that child. Like there's always da 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 da. So it's like always all over the place, and it's like maybe if today that child probably maybe had some kind of neurodivergence or something like that like it has never been diagnosed,
But don't say that because we don't want to label them.
but we don't
You
want to
don't want
label them, right?
to label, right?
But like I feel like all of us in some like because I feel like it's the human experience. I feel like we all have it. We just don't know. Like it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I realized that I had some mental health issues. But they were things that got ignored because I was like, oh, I was like, well, black people don't talk to shrinks. That's just kind of how I was raised. It's like we don't go to we don't talk to the doctor. We don't see psychologists or get like that. That's stuff for white people. Like that was just how that's just how I was raised. That's how my family was. But like as I
Yeah.
got older, I was like, oh, that's not true. I was like, this is not okay. And I will say, and I don't recommend this for anybody, I am probably one of the few exceptions of people that experienced that and still kind of came out half-assed okay, but largely because I kind of had to learn coping mechanisms to kind of, that was kind of the thing my mother did for me is she kind of taught me how to cope with things. And
Yeah.
I don't think every child has the luxury of that. So it's one of those things I always tell folks, look, go talk to someone about your shit. Because
Big ups to your mom for helping you with the
Yeah.
coping mechanisms because
Yeah.
I did not have that.
Mm,
And I will
mm,
say suicide survivor or
mm.
suicide failure. It's depending on how you want to look at it. It wasn't until that incident occurred, and I've had two incidents after that. It wasn't
Mm.
until that incident occurred where my parents were like, oh shit, maybe
It's like
there
take
is
it.
something wrong with her. And I'm like, yeah, you think?
It's like, well, yeah, it's like what I've been trying to tell y'all.
Right,
It's
right.
like
And
it's a
even to this day, when I go with my parents to my grandmother's house, I take 6 pills. They're,
mm.
why are you on all that shit? And I was like, so I don't kill y'all.
Yeah, it's like there.
That is exactly why.
This is for y'all more than it is
Right,
for me. Well, it just
right,
like I said, I think that there's and this is why I said at the beginning of this that this is how you get those you get those diverse stories because we all have a different experience. That's why it's important for people to from different backgrounds to be seen and heard because and I know what the pushback is always going to be. Well, not everybody's story deserves to be told. Well, okay, you could maybe make a case for that if it's a bad story, like just and by bad I just mean like it's objectively just
right,
it
right.
doesn't serve a purpose. But like I think that you stand a better chance of people giving you something that either will resonate with you in some way or just on the off chance be something that isn't like every other bog standard story you've been digesting for the past however long you have been alive. Because I mean there's
Right.
no like I say it all the time, there are no real original ideas under the sun anymore. Everything for the most part has been done, but creative people out there in the world like yourself can take stories that might already be familiar to one person and make it an entire new like brand spanking new experience for tons of other people.
Right.
There's lots of people that did not have the same upbringing that yourself or myself had, and they could maybe like you never know, you could maybe get something out of the
Right.
story that you wouldn't get from just some other avenue.
Yeah, and I will
Yeah.
tell you one thing that really I was already making this to begin with, but one thing that really struck me, my son he just turned 8,
Mhm,
but he was 7, which wasn't that long ago.
mhm,
He was acting out at school and he got sent to the principal's office. And of course, this school does have a therapist there. They said, why are you acting out? Is everything okay? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. And he said, well, how's your dad? And, he said, my dad's fine. He goes to work and he comes home.
mhm.
And I was like, okay, that should be the answer that he gives. My husband goes to work, he makes some money, he comes
He
home.
comes home.
Right. And so they asked my son, they said, so how's your mom? And I thought I was going to get the same answer. Oh, she goes to work. But that's not the answer that he gave. He said, my mom is good. She works on a lot of videos. She's on the computer really early and she stays on at night. And then before she goes to bed every night, she cries. And I was not expecting that. And I
Mhm,
said, where would he get that? Yes, I cry, but I had tried to hide that from him. I'd
mhm,
go in the bathroom, but didn't know that he was seeing that. And he saw my vulnerabilities. And,
mhm,
I didn't, me going in the bathroom was the way I had seen other people in my family cope. You go into the bathroom, you don't let see anybody cry. But then,
mhm,
I was passing off unknowingly a toxic trait to my son
mhm,
that, hey, you're showing weakness if someone
mhm,
sees you cry, and then that's definitely not what I wanted to push out to my son. And I was like, how many other people are going through this, out there and they're just not talking about it. And
mhm,
maybe they need someone to talk to. So that pushed me and spurred me more and more to do Skelly. And, I think, I had a lot of my voice actors say, we joined this project because of your passion. And I said, yeah, I have a passion for this because this is a story that I don't think that anyone has told and has told in this way.
mhm.
And I think it's a story that we need,
Yeah.
especially now with the way, and I don't get into politics, but the way that life is going right now,
Yeah.
we need a sounding board to be able to talk about these things. And, Black males shouldn't feel emasculated to go
Mhm.
and see a therapist. And
Right.
Black women shouldn't feel like they're always angry. And if they're not angry, they're not going to get this job or that job or this job. Or Mexican people shouldn't be, oh, she's Mexican coded because she's feisty and she's angry. Like, I'm trying to go against all of these norms that people have, these stereotypes that people have placed on us. And I say people have placed it on us because, you know, we wouldn't go up and say, oh, I'm an angry Black woman, you know, so I need a position. You know, this is something you put on me. This is a label you put on me, and it's not the correct label at all.
It's the label that you get for doing the same thing that you know. And let's just be real. If a Black woman were to express any emotion other than just complacency or, you know, just docileness, it's perceived as anger. Whereas you could have a white woman have the exact same expression and the exact same cadence, exact same way. They will not be seen in the same ways. It will that person, that white woman would just be seen as maybe aggrieved. It would be worded in such a way that wouldn't make her seem angry. You know, as a Black woman, you would be labeled as angry. You would be, you would be labeled as angry. And regardless of whether you were or weren't.
Yes, as Black women, I think we have two modes. We're either we don't care, or
you're saucy or you're angry.
We angry. You know? And I think that's just, you know, sometimes I can be the wife. You know, or I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna let you keep talking, but I ain't putting up with your bullshit. But that is not all encompassing of who I am.
No,
you know.
Well, that's not even half. They only know half. If that's just the time I've talked to you, if that's what they get out of you, they don't even know half the story about you.
Right, and that's what I want Skelly. Like, I want people to find themselves in Skelly, whether it be Frederick Douglass, who's always telling a story you never asked for him to tell you.
Yeah.
Or he's that grandpa character. Oh, let me tell you a story about my day, you know, and you're like, well, we didn't ask for this story. Well, I know you didn't ask for it, but I feel like the settings, you know, sets it up for that, you know. Or we have Bonnie and Clyde, who is really just, you know, if you look at it, it's a Joker Harley Quinn situation, just in a different genre, you know. It's a man and a woman who are toxic together, but they can't see that they need each other. And, you know, Clyde needs Bonnie just as much as Bonnie needs Clyde, because without each other being toxic for each other and egging each other on, they feel like they have no kind of personalities outside of that. So, you know, you have Bonnie and Clyde, they're always together. People say that they're joined at the hip, but that's because they're a toxic couple. So it's like things that we have seen growing up in animation. It's just presented in a different light, you know. And I love the Joker and Harley Quinn. Don't get me wrong. Batman the Animated Series, only Batman that you should be watching. Oh my God. Or Batman Beyond. Those are the only two right answers to that question on which is your favorite Batman.
Oh, me. Batman Beyond, not quite as much, because I think I had just kind of hit that age bracket where it was like I was just outside of it, like when it was starting to come on. But yeah, the Batman the Animated Series was very much in my time frame.
Yes. So those are the you know, so it's definitely tropes. We have the tropes in Skelly, but I wanted to present them in a different way. And I hope people, you know, can pick out the tropes, like they can see the trope coming. You know, I kind of want to not like it's really in your face, but, you know, we have those tropes there, but can you find yourself? You know, do you see yourself in Bonnie and Clyde, or do you see yourself in Frederick Douglass, where you always want to give, you know, a helping hand and a listening ear? Yes, but you always have a story to go with it. You have an anecdote to go with every story you have to tell, you know. And, you know, are you Amy Winehouse, you know, who just wanted to be loved, you know, by everybody? If you look back at her story, she just wanted to be loved, and the things that she did, you know, to be loved and to cope with her anxiety. Are you that type of person, you know? Or are you Sarah, who's in a rut? She's been a graphic designer all she can remember, and she's still a junior graphic designer. She's been at the company for, you know, 12 plus years, and she's a junior graphic designer 512 while people rise up above her, you know, living this monotonous life. Or do you have this grandmother who is horny as all get out, and she's having sex with different skinder you know, dates every night. So I want people just to see themselves and Skelly is dedicated to my grandmother. She was always very feisty, and she's now in the throes of dementia. And it's hard to see her when I go home and see her. That light's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So this is definitely first and foremost, it's dedicated to my grandmother because she was always a feisty pistol, and she, had a second grade education. She had her kids. She raised her kids. And then after she did all of that, she raised her kids and then raised other people's kids. After she did that, she said, I'm going to go back to school. She was in her 40s. She's like, I'm going to go back to school and I want to get my GED, second grade education, and she said, I'm going to go back to school at this age and get my GED. And she did it. She did it, taking care of 9 kids, so it's definitely a testament to her. But while it's a testament to her, it's a love letter to everyone else out there who has ever just felt, or has been called, you're the weirdo, you're the nerd, you're the dork, you're that kid who doesn't quite know what they, and definitely not derogatory, but there are a lot of trans kids out there who are told, oh, you just don't know what you want right now. When in time they know what they want, you just don't want to accept it.
They know they want, you don't know what they want.
Like, and this is their story and their path. This is not for you to tell them, what they are or what they should be. This is what they can be. And I want people to understand that you can reach for the stars, and even if you don't make it, you'll hit the moon, and that's good enough. That's amazing.
Oh no, and just even more importantly, just the fact that you tried.
Yeah.
No one really tries. And that to me is as important as anything else.
Always do my really bad Macho Man. I love wrestling when I was growing up. Always do my really bad Macho Man impression. Said, when I'm down for the 8 count, I always get up 9. So you get knocked down 8 times, you gotta get up on that 9th time. How you get up. And also snap to a Slim Jim.
Well, one thing I want to say is, for one, I love what you're doing, and I want other people to to check it out and to try and get behind it. I'm gonna have a link in the description, pin comment below. I think by this point, a lot of y'all on this channel, y'all probably know the drill by now. I hope you know the drill by now. But I'll have links to all of Kayla's socials and wherever you can find her, to be able to check out what she is doing, to be able to keep up with Skelly, and and if you have a mind to do so, go show some love, go show some support, and even if you can't contribute to it monetarily, share a link or two, maybe share it with your friends or family or anyone you think that would enjoy it. Go check it out and see what it is she has going on here. And like I said, I think you can find a lot to like.
Believe me, I don't like disappointing people, and you won't be disappointed if you guys just go check out any of my links, And if you ever need anyone to talk to, feel free to join the Skelly Discord. We have a mental health check-in. So everybody types in there, and we don't discriminate against anybody. Like most days, I'm the most active. I'm like, I really hate my job. And people are like, we all get like that sometimes. And I was like, no, but it's like this every day, y'all. I don't understand. So, like, if you ever need a listening ear, I'm definitely here. All the voice actors are in the Skelly Discord, and we have fans in there. So you want to join the Skelly Discord? I don't know. I was going to make it as like a backer thing, but I might just make it open to everybody. Just come in, because some people just don't have anyone to talk to. And, I want you all to feel like you have someone to talk to, because there is somebody out here who will listen to you. And I'm a safe space. I promote that first and foremost, safe space. Come talk to me if you ever feel like you can't talk to anybody else, and if I can't help you, I will point you in the right direction. And we have some links and everything out there for, low cost mental health evaluations and therapy and stuff like that. So definitely, if you want to become part of the skeleton crew, we welcome everybody. So come my people.
And also, I was gonna say too, because you mentioned this, made me remember too. Skelly, it's gonna be you're gonna be putting it back on Kickstarter, right?
October 1st.
October 1st?
Spooky
Okay.
season. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
That will be our relaunch. So I'm hoping that we can actually make it this time. We lowered the goals and we've lowered the rewards because of the lowered goals. But we're trying to get out there. So if I can only get out there as an animatic, so be it. But I think it's just something that people should see. Would love to get out there fully animated, but animation is a lot of money. So, you know, I'm going to do anything that I can do. It might just be pose to pose, you know, but as long as I can get that story out there and tell you that story, I think you guys will not be disappointed if you back us and fund us or support us, you know.
Well, I was gonna say, when the time comes, let me know, and I will put the word out. Like I said, I think if I'm not mistaken, the Kickstarter link for the relaunch is already active. You can go and set it to be notified. The link for that will be down below with everything else. If it sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure you go there. Go to the Kickstarter link. Click on the, I believe it says like save or notify or remind me later or something like that. Make sure you click on that so that way you can be notified when it happens. And of course, keep it stay tuned to here because as the time comes, I will very likely be saying something about it around that time as well. So and heck, was it in around October? Come back on and we can talk about it some more.
Yes, most definitely. I love to talk, so you had nothing to do it but to do it. You know, I'm here.
Kayla, I appreciate you for taking the time to talk with me about this, and
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.